It's Formula One's big one. The massive Hockenheim circuit sees speeds of over 225 miles an hour and plays host to round 11 of the 2000 World Championship. Hello there, welcome to the highlights of this afternoon's German Grand Prix. David Coulthard has cut Michael Schumacher's championship lead to just 6 points, and Schumacher has never won round this place in a Ferrari. He saw his closest rival steal a march in an absolutely riveting qualifying hour. As the session starts, the heavens open. Most runners manage to set a time on their first flying laps, but Barrichello spins his only car. He has to hang around the garage waiting for another spare Ferrari to become available. Coulthard makes the most of the damp track and puts in a lap that's never bettered. The rest of the field play cat and mouse with the elements, but Fisichella finds a golden minute between wet and dry and puts the Benetton right in the mix. The hour's almost up when Michael Schumacher pulls a lap right out of the top drawer to snatch a place on the front row. So it's Coulthard's second pole of the season, championship rival Schumacher second on the grid. Fisichella bumped down to third, but delighted to be ahead of Häkkinen. De La Rosa gives Arrows their best grid slot in some 3 years. Then it's Trulli, first of the Jordans, and an improved Wurz. Herbert happy for once 8th in front of Villeneuve, and Irvine round out the top 10. Row 6 for Verstappen and Zonta, with local boys Heidfeld and Ralf Schumacher 13 and 14. Salo next, followed by Button. Frentzen, he had his best time removed after he cut out a chicane, and Barrichello down there in 18th. Deniz and Alesi in row 10, followed by the Minardis, Mazzacani and Genet. Jenson Button starts from the back in the Williams after stalling at the start of the formation lap. Enjoy an action-packed German Grand Prix then with Martin Brundle and Murray Walker.
3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and in Germany it is go!
Schumacher.
And Coulthard gets away. Schumacher tucked up behind him, but Häkkinen goes round and straight into the barrier goes the Benetton, and there's a Ferrari down there as well. That must be Rubens Barrichello. That must be Rubens Barrichello, or it's Schumacher. It's Schumacher. Incredible. And Fisichella. They started third and second on the grid, and Michael Schumacher is out of the race before it's hardly begun, and the McLarens are already first and second, with the Frentzen and with the Jordan of Jarno Trulli up in third position. An incredible development, and Michael Schumacher is again going to score no World Championship points.
And it's such a long lap here, the second longest lap of the year. They'll easily be able to clear those cars before the pack gets around for the first complete flying lap of the day. Those cars will be cleared out of the way. Disaster for Michael Schumacher.
Yeah, but Rubens Barrichello is already slashing his way through the field, and Fisichella and Schumacher talk to each other as we look down on this 200-mile-an-hour plus straight. Rubens Barrichello, there he is, you just saw him coming towards us in the Ferrari. It's McLaren leading, McLaren in second place, the Jordan in third position, and the lead driver is Mika Häkkinen with David Coulthard tucked under his gearbox, and De La Rosa in the Arrows, who's been going so well, is in fourth position, and the 2 Jaguars of Eddie Irvine and Johnny Herbert are up there, both of them in the points, 5th and 6th at the moment.
Yes, unless Herbert's past Villeneuve. Herbert's 7th according to the screens, but Häkkinen got a flying start. Michael got away well too, but seemed to stutter. Yellow flags are out on the start-finish line here, just to tell the driver, wave yellows to tell the drivers they're recovering those cars. No sign of a safety car, no sign of a red flag, and Michael Schumacher is out of the race for sure.
And Barrichello has already gained 8 places. He's up from 18th on the grid to 10th. 2 of those, there he is pulling out, you see, and passing Zonta in the BAR, coming up behind Jacques Villeneuve in the other BAR.
Now here we go, Coulthard away moderately well. Schumacher I saw out of the window getting away well, then stuttered, and Häkkinen just drove right through the middle. Now look, Schumacher came across and really blocked Fisichella out. Schuey did not realise Fisichella was there, did not give him any space, and I'm afraid, Michael, you cannot blame that on Fisichella. Look, he's moved across onto his line and then braked, so Fisichella quite late into the corner, but that was at least 50-50. Michael gave him no space.
Yeah, but a lot of the cynics will be saying that's Michael Schumacher's come-uppance. He's had payback time for the things they've been blaming him for in the recent past. Well, the good news so far for Britain is that the Jaguars are well up.
Yes, and now Barrichello's got a much better run on Irvine earlier on in the straight. Now let's see the drag cut in. Can Barrichello make it stick this time? Yes, he's got the line up the inside. Irvine just falling back down the field at this stage.
And that's Eddie Irvine, of course, who won this race brilliantly for Ferrari last year, thanks to the support of his teammate, Mika Salo, who was replacing Michael Schumacher after the German had broken his leg in Britain. Now look at this.
This will be Barrichello, I assume, overtaking Verstappen, and he makes it stick into the second chicane. So Barrichello now is up to 6th place.
Well, it's all down to Barrichello now, and look at him attacking the Jaguar in front of him. Now the Brazilian, and he's going through on the inside. He forces a brilliant move there. He forced Johnny Herbert wide, and he's now up into 4th place, and Herbert has got De La Rosa behind him in 6th position.
And this is another shot then of Barrichello passing Johnny Herbert into the first chicane. Johnny beginning to turn in and had to turn back out again. Great move there from Rubens.
And Johnny Herbert is still in the points in 6th position. So let's have a quick look at the top 10. It's the two McLarens, Hakkinen and Coulthard. Then Jarno Trulli's yellow Jordan. Look for it. It's getting further and further back. There it is in the distance. De La Rosa in the arrows is 4th, and Barrichello is 5th in the Ferrari. 6th is Johnny Herbert, and 7th is Jos Verstappen. Both the arrows in the top 7. Eddie Irvine 8th, Jacques Villeneuve is 9th, and his teammate Ricardo Zonta is 10th. Remember what Craig Pollock was saying about the BARs, they're both in the top 10.
Yes, Barrichello, now he's got some clear air. It'll be interesting to see his lap times, Murray. Remember, he's really only just 11.2 seconds behind Hakkinen, who's leading the race. So Barrichello, if he's got a strong pace, can still come through and do some damage for Ferrari this afternoon.
Yeah, he's closed the gap from 1.2 seconds a lap longer to 0.6 of a second longer. And look at the way he's stretching away now from the powerful Jaguar of Johnny Herbert. There is Jos Verstappen, the Dutchman, behind him. And Tom Walkinshaw will be really delighted at the way his team is going here at Hockenheim. Now, looking at these two, Martin, is very interesting because David Coulthard is sitting comfortably behind Mika Hakkinen. Their lap times are virtually identical. There is Jarno Trulli, Pedro De La Rosa in the arrows, and catching him hand over fist, Rubens Barrichello. A long gap before Johnny Herbert in the Jaguar now, who's got Jos Verstappen tucked up behind him. Eddie Irvine then, and behind Irvine is Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Now, you remember I said earlier on, watch Frentzen. He's come up from 17th on the grid to 9th in the race. He's in amongst the traffic. If he can get past Eddie Irvine, and Frentzen, he's going to do it. He pulls out from behind Irvine, who battles alongside him, but Frentzen has got the inside of the curve, and he should get through. Irvine will have to give way, and he has done so, and Heinz-Harald Frentzen moves up into 8th position. So the two Jordans, Frentzen is in 8th position, his teammate Jarno Trulli is 3rd. Well, Barrichello is showing what he's made of as we join him now, and the car that you can see ahead just in the distance is Pedro De La Rosa's arrows. Lap 9, and this is a replay of Heinz-Harald Frentzen surging up from 17th on the grid into the position he's in now, 8th position. And Jos Verstappen has got the Jordan right behind him now. And the men to watch at the moment are Barrichello, who is the fastest man on the track, 5th and catching De La Rosa. There is the second orange arrows, that of Verstappen in 7th place, with Frentzen behind him.
Yes, Frentzen, I see, missed a chicane at some earlier on at 14.06 earlier on the race. If they're going to penalise him, they'll have to penalise him very soon. And it looks like he's got away with that at the moment. He's flying through the field. Verstappen in the arrows has lost a major part of his engine cover, which will be affecting the aerodynamics, and it's left debris on the track. Now, it was Verstappen himself that ran over a piece of debris this morning going down towards turn 1, as Frentzen lines himself up and surely can brake late enough to take the line down into the first chicane. Yes, he can. And it was Verstappen who touched a little piece of debris this morning, and his front tyre exploded immediately. It's highly critical round here. Remember that it was Hakkinen who went out of the race last year with a delaminated tyre. The tyres are under severe pressure, and Verstappen's got a problem with that engine cover missing. And now Frentzen is up into 7th place. And here we see from another angle, Frentzen getting the track position, getting the line, and not snatching his brakes, taking a good clean run.
Well, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, a German in Germany at Hockenheim, is now in 7th position. His next target is the man in the red helmet and the green Jaguar, Johnny Herbert, who has announced that he's leaving Formula One at the end of this year and going to race in champ cars in America. Is he going to be able to retain his 6th place? I don't think so much longer. Pedro de la Rosa has covered himself in glory in the last couple of races. He's doing so again.
Yes, and look, Barrichello's got a sniff of a slipstream, but we know just how fast that Arrows is in a straight line. But Barrichello, we know, is excellent on the brakes into turn 1, but he can't have a go from there. He'll simply slam into the side of the Arrows. But can he get some traction out now? And, well, that Arrows is really handling well, isn't it? He really hasn't got... Barrichello doesn't have much an advantage over it, but he has clearly got the best braking car on the racetrack at the moment. We'll see how good it is when he gets anywhere near the McLaren.
There he goes.
Look, he's showing it well there, isn't he? Easily through, and that is so bumpy. It doesn't show from anywhere, from a camera angle, but it's so bumpy down there into 2. And it looks so easy, and I can't tell you just how hard it is at 210, 215 miles an hour.
Here is the race leader, Mika Häkkinen, McLaren, David Coulthard, McLaren. Still just over a second between them on this, the 13th lap, and out goes Johnny Herbert in the Jaguar. Well, Johnny's bad luck seems to stick with him, whatever circuit he is at and whatever country he is in, and the jinx has struck again.
Trulli's getting a little bit untidy in his defence and running a bit wide. I think Barrichello won't spend too long behind Trulli before he finds a way through. He'll get a better drive out of a chicane or a corner, and then for sure he can nail Trulli on the brakes. It may even be as soon as down to the first chicane. Trulli not defending his line yet. Now Barrichello makes the move, the perfect slipstream, and Barrichello will go through under braking, surely, and he does.
Remember what I said about a great drive? There is confirmation and underlining of it. Here are the leaders.
Coulthard slipped back slightly now, 1.5 seconds the gap, and you can see it there for yourself. Häkkinen's car working beautifully, not having to fight it at all. So Barrichello having to give up that 3rd place. They ran him light. I suspect they might be doing the same with Frentzen to enable him to get through the traffic earlier on and then resume his race. Wherever he comes out, he's like the people around him, he's got to stop one more time.
Yeah, and of course that has let Jarno Trulli through in the Jordan, and Barrichello has got it all to do again. And the Jordan mechanics are out ready to bring in either Jarno Trulli or Heinz-Harald Frentzen. And here is the answer. It is Heinz-Harald Frentzen coming in from 5th position. And so that will let Rubens Barrichello back into that place. It's going to be terrifically exciting from now on, because Barrichello's had his stop. Frentzen will have had his stop. And out goes the German, 8.6 seconds. Look out down the track. Who is that coming down towards us and turning in to turn 1? And it is Jos Verstappen, and he's tucked up behind Harald Frentzen. Now, if he can keep the motion on, he might just get through. And behind them is Eddie Irvine, 8th, Jacques Villeneuve in 9th position. Verstappen and Frentzen battling for position on the track. Frenzen's got the inside of the turn, so he forces Verstappen to yield and retains his place.
Standing here with Michael Schumacher. Michael, once again you've gone out of the race in a first corner incident. Talk us through it from your perspective.
Yeah, basically quite easy. I was going for turning in for the corner from the outside line to get a nice exit for the long straight to make it a run at Coulthard, and then I was bumped off from the back.
What part do you think that the McLarens played in that incident?
Not very much. I mean, basically Fisichella came from behind, and he is the person to watch out for cars in front of him, not to run them over. I mean, there is limits to what you can do, and you have to adapt to the circumstances, and he clearly didn't do that good enough.
Bear bearing in mind the controversy that there's been between yourself and David over start manoeuvres, were you kind of expecting him to pull a move on you like he did?
Listen, I'm out of the race not because of David. I'm out of the race for Fisichella, and that's it. What you can say about it.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, I've got to disagree slightly with Michael. I understand what he's saying, but he took the line. He really closed Fisichella out. He went into Fisichella's space, and Fisichella was unable to slow down. It was no better than 50-50 in my view, Murray. I don't know where you're at on that one.
Well, I agree with you. You know, I tend to stick up for Schumacher more than most people, but I'm with you on this occasion. And that's cost him another 10 points to the 30 he had already lost through failing to finish this year.
Look, we've got a strange guy walking down the side of the racetrack in a raincoat on the grass. And what on earth is he doing? Crossing the racetrack during the Grand Prix. And clearly either a bit too much beer there or he's hit his head on something, because he's not being sensible at all. I've never seen this before. Have you ever seen it, Mary?
Well, I've seen a lunatic in Brazil just as the race was finishing, rushing out. But that is very bad news indeed.
Safety car, so this will close the pack up. James.
Yeah, safety car, and everybody's reacting quickly. We're going to have everybody making their pit stops in the next few minutes. Ferrari are reacting as well. Trulli's in now. We're expecting who's going to come first from McLaren. This could be very painful for whichever is the second of the two McLarens to make their stop. And Ferrari are reacting as well. They're going to bring Barrichello in and fuel him to the end. Amazing turnaround.
Fantastic development this is. That lunatic, whoever he is changing the complexion of the race on lap 26 out of 45. We're not seeing what is happening to him, but as if there he is, he's got some sort of a Mercedes-Benz slogan on the back of his plastic Mac.
And this is going to cost somebody dearly. Two McLarens running line astern. One of them's going to have to queue in the pit lane. And it's a question of, will they catch that safety car? 4.25 mile racetrack. Will they actually catch the safety car before they come around to the end of the lap? The Jordan made good use of the situation, and here comes Hakkinen. What's going to happen? Only one of them can be serviced at a time. There's one pit garage per team, one crew of 22 men. Hakkinen comes in. Coulthard surely will have to come in. If he goes around, he's going to catch the safety car and end up at the back of the queue. No, Coulthard has to go around. He's just got to hope and pray he doesn't catch that safety car before he gets round again. He surely will.
Well, they've done what I would have expected. They had to give preference to Hakkinen. He's leading the race. But the question now is, are they going to catch that lunatic who's walking round the course and get him off it? All sorts of things can and will happen as Mika Hakkinen exits the pit lane, and we're on lap 27 now. Remember, Jarno Trulli, who was third, has come in and made his pit stop. He was at the time some 30 seconds behind the McLarens. The safety car is there. Coulthard is behind him.
Coulthard's going to end up last in this race when they restart, and there's Barrichello in again. But Coulthard has now got to do a slow lap behind the safety car, then come in for a stop, so the queue will go, the snake will go past, and Coulthard will end up right on the back of the queue. Disaster for Coulthard.
And Barrichello is out before Frentzen. There is Heinz Harald. Barrichello third on the track, third in the race, exits the pit lane before Heinz Harald Frentzen.
Yeah, they've made a desperate mistake by not allowing Coulthard to queue up and just simply wait to be serviced. Now he's got to come in for his stop and let... And James, what can you say?
Well, I was just about to say, Martin, why didn't he come in and queue up? And I really think that's what Ron Dennis told the mechanics he was going to do. I saw him come shooting off the pit wall and telling the tyre guys, get DC's tyres ready as well, because he's coming in as well. And then he went just on straight past. Maybe it was a communication error, maybe there was a little bit of everybody talking at the same time because there was such chaos down here. But Coulthard has certainly paid the heavy price. I said the guy from McLaren who came in second was going to lose out, but I really didn't expect it to be this much.
Here comes the safety car towards us with David Coulthard, who's potentially last in the race, and there you can see another additional car, and whoever it is going to be put into that car. He's made his point, whatever it is, and I hope he feels happy about it. I just can't imagine what is going on in his mind, but my goodness, it doesn't half change the race for our safety car. Coulthard will have to come in now, or will he stay out?
Well, he can stay out. I'm sure he's got more fuel. The
he's coming in. Look,
yes, the mechanics are ready for him, but if the safety car's going in this lap, there's David trying to get himself as much space as possible. Yes, he is coming in, so the safety car's staying on track. Now, Coulthard's got to somehow stop, but he won't be allowed back out of the pit until after the snake have gone past, probably, and disaster for Coulthard.
And Trulli is up into second place ahead of Rubens Barrichello as the McLaren mechanics do the best they possibly can for David Coulthard, who has been cruelly cheated of his position.
Yeah, crucial mistake there by somebody, not allowing Coulthard to come in and queue. I don't know, it may have been him, may have been a communication problem, may have been a decision problem, but look, he's going to end up virtually at the back of the snake, having been in a strong second place. Hakkinen is at the front of the queue. We saw him behind Coulthard before Coulthard had to pit, and there it is now, look. So where is Coulthard in the race, Murray?
Yeah, but look at this, you see, all tight up behind. The race is in effect restarting, as you see. Mika Hakkinen leading, Jarno Trulli second, Rubens Barrichello third, De La Rosa is fourth, Frentzen is fifth, and David Coulthard there in sixth position.
It didn't work out quite as bad as I thought, but bad enough for Coulthard, because he's now at the back of that pack, and of the front runners of the afternoon. It's flip-flopped him right back there, and the lights are still on the safety car. Strange message here on the computer, look, Murray. Maybe we'll never see that again. Man on track.
But ding dong, are we going to see a race now? Lap 28, and you can see how close they are. And remember Rubens Barrichello, who's come up from 18th. He's made his pit stop. He's going to have to make another one, and that's the crumpled mess that was Michael Schumacher's car when the race started. Behind it is the crumpled mess that was Giancarlo Fisichella's car. What an incredible German Grand Prix this is turning out to be. Lap 28, and Mika Hakkinen leads Jarno Trulli. Rubens Barrichello is in third position. De La Rosa is right behind him in the arrows, and just ahead of Heinz-Harald Frentzen, and up into seventh position, mysteriously and magnificently, according to the computer in front of me, and I'm waiting for confirmation on the track, is Jenson Button. Well, what about that for a development? Safety car. Hakkinen, Trulli, Barrichello and De La Rosa, Frentzen and Coulthard, Schumacher, Villeneuve, Zonta, Verstappen, Salo, Wurz. Well, the computer cannot lie. It is on this occasion, and Jenson Button has got to come in, and I confirm that there is rain on the way. Whether it's going to get here in time to wet the track before the end of this race, which has nearly half its distance still to go, remains to be seen. And David Coulthard will be well and truly fired up now. And a word from James Allen.
Well, of course, the $10 million question here is, was Coulthard told to stay out, or was it his own decision? What I can tell you is when he pulled away from his pit stop, he made a very dismissive hand gesture with his left hand to the pit wall at McLaren. So that may tell you that he doesn't think whatever the decision they made was the right one.
Yes, and the golden rule is, and the safety car's in, the golden rule is that you only come in when you have clearance to do so. You do not just wander in the pit lane of your own volitions. But nonetheless, at least Coulthard's not too far down the field. He has a chance to overtake and have a go.
Watch Barrichello. You're seeing the snake now, and Barrichello can see the opportunity to get past Trulli, take second place, get up behind Mika Hakkinen, and behind them are De La Rosa and Frentzen. And you can see now Rubens Barrichello closing up and coming outside alongside Jarno Trulli. And is he going through to second position? The answer is no. Trulli holds the inside line. Barrichello fights ahead of De La Rosa and Frentzen. It's nose to tail, snake formation round the circuit. Mika Hakkinen has got a clear track in front of him, and he's making the most of it because he knows he's got to get the hammer down and get clear space between himself and Rubens Barrichello and Jarno Trulli. And Jarno Trulli is undoubtedly holding up Barrichello and De La Rosa and Frentzen as the rest switch back their way through the chicanes down into the 200-mile-an-hour straight on lap 29 out of 45. And Mika Hakkinen eases away a bit.
Zonta getting very close there to his teammate Villeneuve, locking up a wheel, but everybody snatching And is that Coulthard getting ready to have a go at his first victim? Yes, it is. He's up behind Frentzen, but not close enough to have a go into the stadium. The two BARs are still at it, hammer and tongs. But Häkkinen waltzing away up at the front.
Yeah, and of course David Coulthard is not amongst a lot of rabbits. He's amongst some very, very quick, very talented, extremely experienced Formula One drivers in mighty quick motor cars on a circuit where there are passing places, but not all that many. As Häkkinen goes through now, Trulli, Barrichello, De La Rosa, Frentzen, David Coulthard in sixth position, still in the points. Both the McLarens are in the points, but not as commandingly as they were before that man came out on the track. And hopefully he's on his way to clink now, some recompense. And down to the 200-mile-an-hour straight, into the chicane again, and just look at the way Mika Häkkinen is getting the hammer down and stretching away. He's now nearly 3 seconds ahead of Jarno Trulli.
And we've got is that Jensen Button? No, it's Ralf Schumacher. Schumacher is spun. Verstappen had to go right around the outside. Obviously, Ralf keeping the engine running up and away, but he will now be effectively last.
And I saw De La Rosa. Look at this, there's Schumacher, Wurz going through. This is absolutely fantastic. Formula One, wheel to wheel, nose to tail racing. So, Trulli, Barrichello can't get past the Jordan yet. De La Rosa is right past the Ferrari. There goes Jacques Villeneuve, then there's a gap. This is Ralf Schumacher, followed by Alexander Wurz. And Trulli,
big accident.
And there's and the cars whizzed through the frame and us didn't spot which ones they were. 2 wheels off, that's a nasty one.
That could be another pace car, could be another safety car situation with so much debris. Safety car is standing by, I see, but
it's Pedro Diniz.
But it's a Prost that's in the wall. I don't know which one.
Well, Pedro Diniz was with a Lacey.
Yeah, so Lacey in the wall. He's out of the car, look, so he's okay. Diniz, I think, should be okay, probably just talking on the radio.
Hopefully,
and safety car has picked up Häkkinen.
This is a replay.
Yes, let's see. I think, look, Diniz cuts in, look, and just drives into the side of a Lacey. That's why Lacey was upset. They were side by side. Diniz went to take line with a Lacey completely in the way. And there it is again. Surely Pedro knew he was there.
Well, Louise Goodman was talking to a Lacey earlier today, and she said, do you want rain in this race? He said, I want thunderbolts and satellites, anything to help me. That's his 8th retirement from 11 races in the Prost team, which he had hoped to do well in. His head is very well forward there.
Yeah, that's a big crash, a very big crash. It's well over 200 miles an hour, and I don't think they'd quite made it to the braking zone as Diniz pulled over to take his line and just popped Lacey's car up in the air, which suggests they were little more than side by side. I think Diniz was slightly ahead, but they were still fundamentally side by side, and a Lacey just smashing into the barriers, and we know he's okay, we know he's walked away, but so no injuries to the drivers, but a big and expensive accident. Safety car's in this lap, in at the end of this lap, so 2 more corners for the safety car. Häkkinen will hold them back, then try and give himself a run through the last corner as they clear away the wreckage of that Prost. And Häkkinen is going for it already, look, he's already built a gap. He caught Trulli sleeping there a bit.
Yeah, Häkkinen, who had such a terrible German Grand Prix last year, when first of all his fuel filler stuck, and then secondly he had a delaminated tyre. But he's well in command, and off goes, that's Alexander Wurz. There's been another contact. Wurz from down in the midfield goes off in the Benetton, and that's the second Benetton, of course.
And look, he had contact down the field with what must be it's the Sauber of Salo, so contact early on. I don't quite know how they managed to run into each other that early.
And the umbrellas are going up in this incredible race where we've had collisions, where we've had a lunatic walking around the course, we've had the safety car out. It looked as though the weather was going to be good all through the race. It looks as though now it is not going to be good all through the race, and we face a situation where they could be coming in to change from dry weather tyres to rain tyres. Look at the rain, look at the rain, and we can hear thunder here.
It's raining hard here now, Murray. They're going to have to think about wet tyres certainly quite soon if it carries on raining like this.
Don't leave the room. It's going to be terrific from now on. Lap 34, 11 laps to go. Rain on the circuit at Hockenheim, and it's all potentially going to change.
Blown engine, big blown engine for...
it's Genet.
Yeah. So hopefully he hasn't left a lot of oil on the track. That'll sort them out. A nice emulsion of oil and water. Eddie Irvine recovering. He's pointing at the sky, but you can't see that when you're doing 180 miles an hour driving past the start-finish line. And still the BAR...
Villeneuve, that's Villeneuve and Zonta. Zonta has hit Jack Villeneuve, who pirouettes through 360 degrees time and time again. Brilliantly keeps the engine running and accelerates away, just as Ralf Schumacher in 12th position gets past him, and Eddie Irvine has done a 180 as well. And look at this. They're going to come pouring into the pits now.
Yes, and then once again, Coulthard's going to be at the back of the queue for McLaren. They're all, anybody with two cars running is going to have a queue of cars sitting at the pit lane. They've got to come in at the end of this lap. It's now wet enough here in the stadium, I'm sure. It just depends how wet it is down the far end. Some 2 odd miles. Doesn't look too bad, does it? Really doesn't look too bad down there. But they're in for quite a shock when they get down the end of the next straight. It's raining hard here at the stadium. As you see a replay of Genet's Minardi blowing up. It's an oil fire shortly afterwards, which clearly means the valves have had a chat with the pistons and the oil is getting inside the cylinder. And then the replay again of Eddie Irvine spinning off. But what are they going to...
And here's Villeneuve and Zonta. This is a replay. Zonta clips the right rear wheel of his teammate BAR. Remember, I said 2 weeks ago in Austria, the worst thing that can happen is for two teammates to hit each other. Lacey and Heidfeld did it in Austria for Prost, and now Villeneuve and Zonta have done it in Germany for BAR.
Zonta and Villeneuve, and Hakkinen comes in. The two BARs have been threatening to run into each other for some laps now, and finally they achieved it as Hakkinen comes in early. They're
Martin,
all coming in.
Barrichello's going on. Barrichello is going on. Rubens Barrichello carries on and takes the lead in the German Grand Prix, but it's a bit of a false lead because he will have to, unless he's taking a tremendous gamble, which he obviously is, that things will improve and that he can stay on his dry weather tyres. We're on lap 36 out of 45 now. Mika Hakkinen is rejoining the race on rain tyres, on wet weather tyres, followed by Trulli and followed by De La Rosa.
And there's the tyre blankets remaining on Barrichello's tyres as he leads the German Grand Prix.
Lap 38 out of 45. Jarno Trulli has had a 10-second stop-go penalty, presumably for speeding in the pit lane. He was in 7th place out of the points, but up front it's magic. Yes. There is Rubens Barrichello still leading.
And they're all still on slicks at the front ends here. Zonta is under investigation by the stewards, presumably for running into Villeneuve. We wait to see on that. I just saw Coulthard going straight over the chicane at the first chicane, taking the shortcut. He may get a penalty for that. He did not gain, he did not overtake anybody, but I don't think he saved the position either. But Coulthard struggling a little bit with these conditions. Frentzen all over him, and Barrichello staying out front now, and look how wet it is. Rooster tails behind the cars. Remember, they are on slick tyres, and Zonta is staying with them, and Coulthard really struggles now when he gets to the stadium area. Frentzen all over him once again.
Frentzen, attack! That's Coulthard's McLaren in front of him.
But look now, Hakkinen, 1 minute 55 on wets. Coulthard runs wide. Coulthard runs very wide, and Frentzen doing well. He's got to come in. Come in this time, David. And Frentzen, they should be in this lap. They're now slower than Hakkinen on wets.
Zonta goes off.
Zonta in the wall, as you can see. They should be in this lap. And Coulthard in. Coulthard is in the pits.
But Frentzen goes through and takes second position. He's taking a tremendous gamble. So Frentzen goes up into second position. Here are the Ferrari mechanics taking second place. He was David Coulthard in for wets, but he's losing places. There are going to be 6 laps left at the end of this race, and it's going to be a quite incredible situation as Mika Hakkinen attacks in the McLaren. Lap 42 out of 45. I can hardly contain myself. You're watching Rubens Barrichello, who is staying ahead on dry weather tyres of Mika Häkkinen on wet weather tyres. The gap is 10 seconds, and we have just seen Heinz-Harald Frentzen retire from the race. We've seen Jos Verstappen pull out from 7th position. The orders at the moment: Barrichello leads Häkkinen by 10 seconds. Coulthard is 3rd. Salo in the Sauber is 4th. Jenson Button is in 5th position, and Pedro de la Rosa in the Arrows is 8th.
So this is what we've got, as you see a replay of Verstappen going off backwards into the first corner of the stadium. Häkkinen's losing 3 seconds to Barrichello out in the countryside where it's dry, and then making it all back up in the stadium. But it's pretty much status quo, so Barrichello can stay roughly 10 seconds ahead of Häkkinen. Häkkinen on the wet tyres cannot find any grip through the 2 chicanes. Frentzen dropped out of the race while 3rd, so a technical problem for him. Somehow Barrichello is keeping that Ferrari pointing in the right direction on a wet track. Absolutely brilliant driving from Barrichello, no doubt about it. The lead is down to 9.5 seconds now. Häkkinen cannot make the difference.
But there is David Coulthard in 3rd position. Bearing down on him is Mika Salo on the left, who has now got Jenson Button ahead of him. So Jenson Button is up into 4th place. And he's had 2 5th places this year. The young Englishman, he's only 20 years old, in his first season of Grand Prix racing, and is potentially going to be replaced by Juan Pablo Montoya in the Williams team next year. He's driving an absolute storm of a race. He is a natural. This is the first time he's driven at Hockenheim. He's not used to driving in wet weather. And just look at the way he's going. He's pulling away from Mika Salo, who is in 5th position, and Pedro de la Rosa in the Arrows, who is in 6th place. Ride with Rubens, it's a joy. And he's now 12 seconds ahead of and pulling away from Mika Häkkinen on lap 44 out of 45. And, you know, I have to say it again, in Formula One, anything can happen, and it usually does, and everything has happened in this quite amazing motor race. Rubens Barrichello turns through the centre curve. He's coming down now at nearly 200 miles an hour to turn 11 out of 15 on his 44th lap out of 45, with a comfortable lead over that man, Mika Häkkinen, double world champion. And there behind Mika Häkkinen, you can see it's Coulthard. I apologise. I was going to say, what's Jenson Button doing there? There is Jenson Button with Salo and De La Rosa, and behind De La Rosa is Schumacher.
Yeah, Button 5.1 seconds behind last time over the start-finish line, and they're about even Stevens in the first section, so I don't think Button's got enough laps left to do anything about Coulthard. They're running similar pace, and it's now Häkkinen beginning to fade away. Those wets getting too hot. Barrichello can hack it on the wet track with the slicks, just squeezing that throttle oh so gently as he now heads into his final lap, taking the go-kart line around the outside, using all the old bits of tyre and debris to find that extra grip that you have in these slimy conditions. And the Ferrari mechanics running to the pit wall, Murray.
If you believe in Ferrari, get down and pray, because Rubens Barrichello is on his last lap in what looks like being a magnificent first ever and absolutely brilliant victory. The gap between himself and Mika Häkkinen has been reduced marginally, but is still over 11 seconds as you watch the Finn coming home for what looks like a certain 6 World Championship points, which could have been 10.
Yes, talk about damage limitation. Certainly with Michael Schumacher out the first corner, this is the best Ferrari could have hoped for. Is a virtuoso performance from Barrichello, and he really has given it to them, hasn't he? Those overtaking manoeuvres, albeit with a lighter car in the first part of the race, were sensational, and he had the confidence to stay out on the racetrack. There's Michael Schumacher watching the action, and the fastest man on the track by miles is actually Jenson Button, who just took 2.5 seconds out of Coulthard on the last lap, and will be giving him a real hurry up to the line for that final podium place.
And if I'm right with my mental arithmetic, amazingly, Michael Schumacher is still going to be leading the World Championship at the end of this race. Rubens Barrichello
race into the stadium for the 45th and last time. He turns into the slow turn 12 left-hander. He can almost feel a wonderful victory as he comes down to the last two right-handers. You are watching a sensational drive being completed with Rubens Barrichello from Sao Paulo, Brazil, winning for Ferrari, and he's done it! Superb! And look at the reception he gets. Michael Schumacher and Corinna, his wife, are almost as pleased for Schumacher for Barrichello as he would have been for himself.
Ross Brawn, you're actually crying today. What an extraordinary motor racing. What's Rubens done for you today?
Well, it was his decision to stay out. We talked about it over the radio and we realised it was worth a chance, and he said, no, let me go. Let's try it. And it was just fantastic. There was a few points when it was tough, but then when we saw how much Häkkinen was struggling in T2, we realised we could do it. It's just a matter of not falling off.
And he's kept Michael in the championship, of course.
Yeah, I guess so, yes. Yeah, I wasn't thinking of that, but it was fantastic.
Yes, thank you. He is in tears, and he does deserve to be where he is, waving the flag of Brazil.
So 11 finish, and Barrichello wins at last after 124 races. The Brazilian in tears on the podium and dedicating that victory to Ayrton Senna. All this after starting 18th on the grid.
When I saw Mika and Trulli going to the pits, I thought to myself, maybe it's not the right time because the track is still dry. So I said, Ross, give me the update and tell me what Mika is, what time he's doing. And he said, Rubens, if you can keep the car on the track and the pace you're going, you're going to win the race. And that was marvelous. That was the best feeling I ever had. My last win was 91 in Donington with a Formula 3 car. And it just feels so good. I mean, it took so long for that last lap.
Michael, a very emotional moment for you and Rubens. He's done you a favour, but he's driven absolutely magnificently today, hasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I mean, to be in this condition, to be out with slicks and drive as fast as the rest with the rain tyres.
I bet you didn't think you'd be laughing at the end of this race when you went out, did you?
No, I was close to tears and throw my helmet through the corners, but obviously now he made up quite a lot of this.
And the championship begins here again.
It looks like, yes. We have to start again from zero.
I guess it's helped us the fact that Michael hasn't scored. Rubens has moved back into the frame. Mick and I are all square. It's closer now than it has been all year. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen? But you know, in terms of points, you could say it's an opportunity missed. But I think when you have safety cars and raining, it becomes a lottery, and sometimes it can work for you, and sometimes you can get nothing out of it. So I think 10 points for the team overall. We can't be too disappointed.
Tell us about the earlier stop when both of your cars came into the pit lane. What was going on there? Who was making decisions?
Well, the problem was we both wanted to stop, and we wanted to stop in sequence. And then we realised that calculating the timing, that probably wasn't going to be the right thing to do. It was a little bit disorganised for a short period of time. We got the tyres crossed over, but it worked out in the end.
I mean, people don't realise how fast we are and how dangerous this sport is. And the guy was on the left, then a couple of laps later he was on the right, so he crossed the track. And when I saw him, I immediately thought, yeah, the safety car is going to go out because he's risking his life and our life. So it was a very, very good decision.
Were you happy with the timing of your tyre changes?
Oh, definitely. They made a good job of that because it's very, very difficult to know because at the back of the circuit it was dry and here it was wet. So it was a good decision on their part, and just had to pick off a few people to come in fourth. I thought I was fifth myself, but happy to be fourth.
Well, despite his fourth blank in 5 races, Michael Schumacher stays top, but only 2 points ahead of the McLaren hunters, Coulthard and Häkkinen. Barrichello still fourth. The other places are unchanged. In the constructors, Ferrari and McLaren both scoring 10 points. As you were then for the big two, Button with 3 for Williams, who stayed third. No improvement for Benetton, BAR or Jordan. Heck of a racer, Tony Jardine, and a heck of a start, but not for Michael Schumacher.
No, it wasn't. I mean, David Coulthard meted out the treatment to Michael Schumacher, which he had received in France. Look at this. Coulthard moving straight across in the one move which is legal to block Michael Schumacher. Schumacher has to go to the other side, but he takes out Fisichella. Fisichella had nowhere to go. While all that was going on, this huge gap opened up. Here it is again. Schumacher's come from the inside to the outside. Fisichella nowhere to go, about to have a big accident. Luckily, the strength of the Grand Prix cars, the Benetton in particular, look at that front left wheel going off. Now, look at the gap that opened out while David Coulthard was concentrating on blocking his rival. Ironically, his other rival, his own teammate, says, thank you very much. There's a big pathway to the lead of the race.
Don't blame me, says Michael Schumacher. He can't be serious.
No, he can't be serious there. I can't see that. You know, you can't get out of the way. It's your duty to try and brake. But if someone comes straight in front of you like that and you're up to 160 miles an hour, it's a little bit difficult, I think.
Man of the day here, Rubens Barrichello, starting back in 18th after a dreadful qualifying session and carving his way through the field in great fashion.
Superb. I mean, he is a wonderful racing driver. Look at this early on. There he goes past Zonta, who was about to take Villeneuve just after that. But wet or dry here, he's been superb. He's been very, very brave. There he is going past Johnny Herbert. And other people were on two stoppers as well. Although he had a slightly lighter fuel, though, he attacked from the beginning. There he's going past Pedro de la Rosa into 4th place. It's a superb performance. A smooth driver like this, there he closed in on Jarno Trulli and got into 3rd place. Braved it out, toughed it out there on the inside, and the Ferrari was in good shape, but Rubens was equal to everybody. He was superb today.
Tony, I hate giving publicity to people who disrupt sporting events, but this unemployed Frenchman from Limoges, who apparently was sacked by Mercedes a few years ago, not much chance of them giving him his job back.
Yeah,
had a real sort of factor in this race.
Makes me very angry. I mean, this is like suffragette. This is Emily Pankhurst stuff. Could he have, you know, stood in front of a car? He could have done. Nobody came out to try and talk to the guy or try and tether him, calm him, then, you know, take him to the ground or something. There was a risk that he genuinely could have been run over. In 1977, Tom Price hit a marshal. Tom Price was killed, and so was the marshal. The car would have hit that guy at 200 miles an hour.
But David Coulthard might have wanted to extract his own revenge on that person, because what happened after the guy went on the track had a crucial bearing on the outcome of the German Grand Prix.
The safety car had to come out, and that was absolutely the right thing to do. As I said, I felt some marshals could have come out and tried to talk to the guy and at least restrain him. But then, Häkkinen, because he was the lead in the first car, the other cars that had come in, he'd already come in for his pit stop. David Coulthard had to wait while the safety car was going around. He was in danger of falling really far back, perhaps even to the back of the crocodile tail of cars, but he managed to eventually get back out there. Great work by McLaren crew, get to 6th. There are 2 sets of refueling equipment. There are not 2 sets of mechanics, so they've perhaps told him to wait, even though perhaps he wanted to come in and queue up and not lose so many places.
Spectacular moments. I want to look at one of them. Deniz and Alesi with tyres flying around and all sorts.
Well, the interesting thing here is that Deniz has been blamed for putting Fisichella off at the start in Austria with a mad move. He definitely put Alesi out here, and the veteran there, the veteran Frenchman, was lucky to survive a big crash. Now, this is not Zonta's fault. Zonta had gone on the inside to try and get past Villeneuve. Villeneuve said, I'm not having it. Went outside him, was damp on the curbs, and Villeneuve dropped down to 8th place because of that.
Well, next we go to Hungary, live qualifying, 11:30 on the Saturday. The race live at 12:15 and highlights later on that night. Jenson Button, I understand, will be on his way to Benetton next season. He had a terrific race here today. But Hockenheim 2000 will be remembered as Rubinho's day. Good night.